Hello everybody, it's Ss2 once more, our blog. We're going to have a look back over 2018 before we go into 2019. We're going to look at how the year's gone for each of us. We haven't got the full complement at this moment in time. We haven't got Mark, and Jennifer's gone through a bit of a difficult patch, but there's still, you know, part of what we do, and they've been a major part of what we've done as well.
Yeah.
There's quite a number of pictures that Mark and Jen are still on the Facebook page and blog, so we don't want to be talking about them in the past tense. So if you do remember something with Jen and Mark, that's fine. Yeah? And hopefully we'll see them again at some point next year. So, I'm going to begin with Nigel. Yeah. And he's going to let us know a little bit about how he believes his year's gone. And if you want to mention Ss2, you can do, Nigel. So how's your year gone, Nigel? What's been the highs and the lows?
Coming here with my friends, meeting friends, Gary and you guys as well, Harry and Tracy and Lucy. And going on trips as well. To Ravensglass we went.
Yeah, it was a good one, that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The Ravensglass one.
Yeah.
And Mark was there.
And Mark was there. He enjoyed it.
I don't think, was Jen there?
Yes, she was.
Because
we went for a walk.
So if we're looking at, you'd said there about attending Ss2, and that's nice that you've enjoyed coming.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a high. So what about now Jen and Mark aren't around? Would that be one of the lows of your year?
Yeah, that's because Mark had to go. Well, I don't know if Mark had a choice to say, no, I want to continue with Stepping Stones too. But it's just a shame that he had to stop coming for a while. Yeah,
I mean, I'll mention that because it's going to go on the blog. And anybody who's from Walsingham who wants to listen to it, you're more than welcome to ring me up and we'll discuss it. I think that Mark's situation was handled really badly.
It was.
I think that he was unwell for way too long. He'd expressed his concern about feeling angry to Trey. We'd flagged it up a number of times to Walsingham's management, and at every particular juncture it was ignored. Mark got worse. We reached a crisis point, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Where Mark went to the floor a number of times because he felt really anxious. Again, we highlighted this to the Walsingham management team. Again, it was completely ignored. There was a psychologist got involved, I think, from the mental health team, who again didn't pursue it sufficiently. Mark then came here, had another bad do. And then Mark actually was so bad that we decided we would contact the management again to make sure that Mark was looked after. Quite clear he wanted to get away, not necessarily from here, but he just didn't feel well. So we contacted them. A gentleman called Jonathan Anderson came to collect Mark under great duress, I hasten to add, because he didn't really want to come and pick him up. And he dealt with Trey, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you want to enlarge on that?
Well, I don't think he really dealt with me at all.
Do you want to talk us through it so that people can know exactly what happened? And this actually shows you how social care shouldn't be administered for people who are unwell like Mark, because Mark was long-term institutionalisation with his mental health condition, and with that kind of condition, Mark doesn't like to feel angry, doesn't like to feel upset. No. So you have to be very proactive if you're dealing with that, and you don't leave it for the duration it was left for.
We're talking about, at least we noticed things for 2 years.
2 years.
So, I mean, the day that we contacted them, decided to go to the hospital to have some checks done, and when Jonathan turned up, I was trying to explain how Mark had been feeling, what he had expressed in the session, and he didn't look at me or speak to me at any time during that Passover period. Mark sitting there looking extremely uncomfortable and distressed. He just took Mark out of the building, never said goodbye, nothing. And we had no communication after that.
No further communication to this day, did we?
No. Nothing.
Now, there's a massive push, I'll come back to in a second, there's a massive push now for what's called integrated care. Anybody heard of integrated care?
Yeah.
It's where everybody works together for the betterment of the client. So if, for instance, an occupational therapist flags up that someone's flat isn't really good for their mobility, you would contact people, and those people would act on that particular request until that person felt comfortable in their own home or in their own environment. Same with the health. If your health isn't good, right, and Mark has got a mental health condition, you contact the people who deal with the mental health. They're proactive in dealing with that. And we requested that a number of times, didn't we?
We did, yes.
That Mark were to be assessed to make sure that he wasn't going back. I mean, he pretty obviously was going back, because we could see that. When he said to us probably a year before that, he was feeling angry, he didn't want to feel angry, he was getting all anxious. Integrated care would be, right, okay, act on this. Professionals come in, right, Mark, come on, we'll go and sort this out. But you would also communicate with each other as to what was going on. So when Mark was taken away from here by Jonathan Anderson, with no communication with anybody, he did not follow up. He did not get back to us to actually say how Mark was doing. Now that is wrong. And since then, what was it after that?
It was after that, yeah.
Yeah, Mark hasn't been back since, and we've had not one bit of communication as to how he's doing.
No.
I mean, he said he'd come into meeting for a few weeks, missing sessions without any explanation why. And it was Mark who was trying to phone us up and explain things, which was very difficult for him because he wasn't well.
Yeah.
So he was trying to tell us what was wrong, but he can't communicate very well. None of the staff were telling us what was going on. And then eventually I phoned up to remind him of a birthday meal. It was
Mark
which he wanted to come and change
to go to.
We changed the date so Mark would come because he couldn't come on the date we picked, and he asked us to change it. I phoned him up to remind him, and I was told by staff that he wouldn't be coming, and there was no explanation why.
Do you want to mention how it went with the member of staff, because this is also crucial, because that member of staff, God love her, she actually was put in a very difficult situation, because a member of staff should be allowed to actually express what's wrong with someone. We are talking about breaking confidentiality, but it's a simple thing like, well, Mark isn't so well, we're getting some people in to check on him, but we'll let you know how he's doing, and also if he's coming back in the next few weeks or whatever. Do you want to say how that went?
Well, when I explained that Mark had wanted to come and had requested we change the date, and I said he really wanted to come, and oh well, I'm sorry, but the Jonathan is the manager and he will contact you and let you know why. Right. Okay. So there's no other information. No, I can't talk about it, and that was it. So there was no information for us. Of course, we're all concerned. What's wrong with Mark? And poor Mark, bless him. 2-3 weeks later, he phoned me up on a Wednesday morning before a session to say he couldn't come, and I said, right, are you okay? Oh, I've been told I can't come. Right, okay. Who said this to you? Why is that happening? Or some a doctor has come in and said, and that was it. And that was the last thing. And he was very distressed on the phone. And I said, it's okay, Mark, don't get yourself upset about that. But it's okay for you to keep in touch with your friends, you know, and we'll try and keep that going. And that was it, really. And I'm not sure if we've heard from him since.
We haven't, no. Integrated care, that isn't integrated care, because you would communicate with all the people, all the interested parties, to ensure that that person, A, is aware of what's going on, but B, that they're comfortable with the kind of service they're getting and the care they're getting, because they know that people are actually looking after them. You don't ring fence people away from other services because you believe it's the way to do it, because you cause anxiety for people. And Mark, because of his long-term mental health condition, he will get very anxious, but he's also been institutionalised and conditioned, so he will feel fear towards people like Jonathan Anderson about actually challenging that particular decision, and that's wrong. Now, Gary's lucky in some ways, although he is a victim of the condition, institutionalisation. Gary will, when he's pushed, he will actually say, well, no, I don't want that, I don't like that. you know, and obviously if he's with someone like Keith, you know, Keith will pursue that and make sure that that's what happens. But if you don't all work together the same way, it's not going to work. And that's an example of bad social care. And Mark has been the victim.
I've been to meetings with Mark in his living environment, and I've met the staff.
The PCP.
And other meetings as well. And there doesn't seem to be anyone there that actually enables Mark to speak. Nobody helps him express what he wants. Now, the people here at Ss2, I mean, I've known Mark 5 years, but Harry and Nigel have known him for a lot longer. He's done a lot of things with them. They are his friends. He looks forward, he wants to be with them, and they've taken that away from Mark. Yeah. You could tell in his voice that was not what he wanted.
Yeah, and the very people that Mark knows look out for him, the same as Gary, because Gary can name the people that he knows care about him. Those are the people you've got to involve in integrated care. You don't exclude them, because the victim is going to be the actual client, and that's been the case in this. Yeah. I mean, just going back to round off, Nigel, the effects on you, because you've known Mark for a long time, have also been ignored.
Yeah.
Because you would involve Mark's friends, you would encourage that, enable that for Mark. Or why don't you give Nigel a ring, or maybe, you know, Nigel can pop to the house for a cuppa or whatever. Nothing at all has been done. So Mark's left there, literally in a prison. You know, and that's just so wrong. That is something I'm going to pursue next year in greater depth.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Anderson will be brought to account. I've already put a report into CQC based around other situations that have occurred. But I don't want people in social care working with vulnerable people who do the job like that. It's just, there's no room for it at all. So, yeah, it's been a low point for all of us, I think, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
But it has, because Mark had expressed to be able to do more socialising with Nigel. Yep. I had gone along as well to, support. We had a good day out in Keswick, didn't we? There was other things planned he wanted to do. He wanted to be with, can Ss2to come, Harry and Tracy
helping Nigel to decorate his flat.
He wanted to get involved in that. He asked to get involved in that. Work. He likes stuff like that. So, and he kept on asking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Can we do the decorating? So he really wanted to get involved in that. It came once, and then this happened.
Yeah.
So the very things that Mark asked for, we were trying to help him with and include him with, which is what he wanted, and he's been pulled away from all of that.
Yeah, I mean, those things, I mean, we've got a list actually, because we sat there that day with Mark and we went through the kind of things that he believed would help him, with this condition, because he knew he wasn't well. Medication, yeah, I mean, there's a case for that, but then if you don't do the other stuff, you end up drugging people up to the point where they literally become zombies. And that is my concern for Mark.
Yeah.
The easiest route for those would be to give Mark more milligrams, and Gary, you know this, right? That will not necessarily make him feel any better. They will render him unable to do anything, and that's not good. So I think we have another battle to fight next year for the betterment of Mark. But the legacy that remains for Mark attending this particular charity goes without saying. There's nothing to defend or to justify. We know that what we did was right for Mark, and yet the other side wrong completely. But we shall come back to that one. Sorry, Nigel, carry on. Any more highs or lows? What about the Jacqueline situation? That's been difficult for you.
I go to see her and just the same thing.
Jacqueline is Nigel's partner, and I've been for a long time now. But unfortunately she fell ill, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, yeah. And still never found out what she's actually got.
No, and she keeps going on to antibiotics as well,
which
probably this year she must have had at least half a dozen times.
And the difficult thing for you as well, Nigel, is when Jacqueline's on antibiotics, you can't even speak to her. They won't even let you speak to her on the phone.
They will not.
And that, again, is another example of bad non-integrated care, because Nigel hasn't been included. There's no regular communication because this is Nigel's partner. You would expect the hospital to at least contact you, the home, to see how he's doing. If he's not well, they're going to ring you up, so not so good, you know, whatever. They wouldn't stop you going if he's taking antibiotics, would they?
No.
Unless there was a real clinical issue there. So yeah, that's been a difficult one, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Any more highs, Nigel? What about Pips?
Don't even go there.
We're all traumatised by Pips.
Anyone listening who's been traumatised by the personal independent payments people, we're with you all the way. Right on, brother and sister.
Yep.
Keith, thank you, Nigel. Any reflections on the year? Any highs, any lows?
Well, I think the good parts for me is that I'm not doing so many hours now. I mean, I think they've started to listen that I don't want to pick up loads of overtime. At one time I did because I just wanted the extra money. But I'm at the point now, I've got no mortgage, I don't need to be earning loads of money. I'd rather have more time on my hands to do things that I want to do. So,
Yeah.
And I've brought that up in supervisions and they've actually listened. And I'm not getting so much overtime now. And plus they're putting me more with Gary, which is nice for both
that's
of
good,
us.
yeah.
It's nice for both of us, and
It
because
is.
I mean, we can work around what you want to do and plan it and things like that. Whereas if I'm only there every now and again, you don't get so much time to plan.
Consistency.
Exactly.
We are working with autism.
So in that sense, I think for me it's working a lot better, and plus it's working for the people I support as well. It's it works both ways.
That's good. You won't be there long then, Keith.
My day.
We don't need people like you.
What do you say?
You're not supposed to care. So, any more highs or lows, Keith? Had you done podcasts before you came along to the charity with Gary?
Not really, no. Not in other.
So was that a high or a low? the podcast.
It puts you on the spot, I suppose.
But you're more comfortable now, though, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It sort of like helps you to reflect on what you actually do and how what you do has an impact on other people.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the message we're trying to get across, isn't it?
So it's not a bad thing.
That's good. That's a high. We'll put that down as a high. Any lows? Any difficulties? Has the year been difficult in any way, or it's just chugged along as usual?
It has actually. There's been no difficult points.
Look for one, Keith. Look for one.
Well, usually it's people going off sick for for a long time, or staff changes. But to be fair, there's not been a lot of that. I mean, at the moment there's a lot of new people starting, so that's always a good thing. There has been a few left, but there's been enough people coming in to sort of make sure that doesn't have an impact on the services.
Yeah, so you haven't had to keep picking hours up and things, which you used to do, didn't you? People off. There was always certain people, Maynor was one of them, that you always went to, because they kind of knew they needed money, so that's where they would target people. But that's good if you've managed to get it balanced out now.
Well, I mean, I used to pick up a lot of overtime, and I've told them that I don't really want as much now. I'll do the odd shift down again, when need be, but I mean, I don't want to be doing silly hours like I used to.
Yeah, well, Graham used to, didn't he, Gary?
Oh, I did.
Graham used to sometimes be doing up to 70 hours a week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which was a lot of hours.
Well, I did it. I mean, perhaps I'm being selfish, I don't know, but I mean, all I was interested in was getting my mortgage paid off. So there was a time when I was quite happy to pick up quite a bit of extra hours. But I'm at a point now where I've got no mortgage. I don't need to work them silly hours anymore, so and I just don't want to.
You can do things for you, can't you, and your partner?
Well, I prefer to have a bit more time to see my family.
Yeah.
To go back to Kent when I want to. see my family back in Kent, and you know, them kind of things are more important to me now. I mean, at one time I only used to see my family back in Kent sort of like every third year. It's nice that I can do it now, sort of like twice a year if I want to.
Yeah.
It's nice for me that I'm getting more contact. Because only seeing them once every 3 years, it's
No, it's no good. Life's too short, isn't it, Keith?
you lose that closeness, I suppose, if you know what I mean. Where I feel more involved in their life now. I know what they're doing. I know what's coming up, and it's just nice. Even though I'm not seeing them as in every month, it's maybe only twice a year. I know more about what their life and what they're doing and what's going on, you know.
That's important to you, isn't it?
Which is nice.
I mean, your brother was your brother up, or did your brother live up this part of the world? Because I met you that day outside Tesco's, didn't I?
Yeah.
Would you jump it on?
Well, that's another thing. I mean, I am seeing more of my mum and my brother now as well. I mean, I'm going there. I wouldn't say every week, twice a week, but I mean it's generally around that.
It's quite a trek down to Kent, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's nice. I mean, when I was picking up all these shifts, I mean, I was lucky if I see them once a month. So to sort of like be able to see them twice a week is nice.
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel sort of like I'm out of family things anymore.
It's a long way on your bike, though, Keith, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's a long way on your bike. How do you manage?
Well, that's what keeps you fit as well.
Yeah. Do you still get out on the bike a lot? Or do you still travel from A to B on the bike when you can?
I still use it every day. I mean, I don't do large like cycles like I used to.
Kent.
Not all the time because it's raining all the time.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, not today. You can use the bike today. So you've had a pretty good year then, Keith.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. That's
say,
good.
Yeah.
Make you sick, doesn't it? Lucy, you've had a difficult year, haven't you? And I'm not going to take you down that road because you've lost quite a number of family, haven't you?
Yeah.
Has there been anything good that's happened this year that you can remember? Something like Jennifer not turning up for tea.
Yeah, they'll come tonight though.
So let's stay on the low then, shall we? So anything exciting happened this year, Lucy, that didn't happen the year before you can remember?
Can't remember.
No? You been anywhere nice with Mum and Bernie or any holidays?
Oh,
Yeah? So where'd you go to?
yeah. We're our fans.
Oh, Grange of Bassang, that's down there. And was that with Mum and Bernie or just your mum?
Mum and Claire.
Mum and Claire. Did you get out for walks and things?
Yeah.
She won't walk in Carlisle though, was she?
No, sure.
No. Won't go to Carlisle and walk, but you walk in Grange of Bassang.
Go in the car.
Oh, you look in the car.
You walk in the car. There you go.
Walk in the car.
Walk to the car and yeah.
Walk in the car.
But you've had a good year apart from obviously the sadness
Oh,
that was
yeah.
Okay, Lucy, thank you. Gary, do you want to reflect on your year and how it's gone? I know the sadness about your mum with where she's at and Keith was mentioned about the distance between. I did, when I was with you, try to nurture it along with Mark so Gary could get down more often. Obviously within the parameters of not being too upsetting for him, because obviously too much time spent seeing your mum like that would also upset you as well. But just getting that balance, you know, maybe once a week or once a fortnight, but also keep in touch on the phone.
Yeah.
So how's the year gone then? How was Gary's year gone? Apart from your hair.
Having a picture took with David, that stuff.
I knew that was going to come out first.
Going to Comic-Con.
So that's massive high, and of course Keith went with you.
I did, yeah.
It's a bit difficult on the bike, you two, but you got there eventually. A lot of hills there, isn't there, web there?
We went on the train.
with the bike or just on the train?
Keith took his bike with him on the train. It's hard to get a bike on the train now, isn't it? You know, it's not that user friendly really. I mean, I've tried it myself before. There's always some people standing where you're supposed to put your bike, and Sorry, Gary. So any other highs? What else stands out in the year gone by? Has there been any difficult times you've gone through that's been a little bit arduous for you throughout the year? What's been a struggle for you?
Not having a car yet.
Yeah, and that's the situation with not having transport to get from A to B.
Yeah.
Which we're going to table for next year, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I still believe and maintain that Gary should have access to a vehicle. Gary shouldn't be the only one in a house that sees other people go out into a car when the weather's inclement.
Exactly.
Things like getting shopping or getting some items that you bought to bring back, or even just going off for a day somewhere, like the market at Silla, things like that, I used to use the car anywhere. It wasn't something that, because a certain manager stopped because Gary used to pay petrol. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to put petrol in the car so Gary could go off to Silla and things like that. But a certain person stopped that, didn't they? But he also wanted me to stop using the car. I said no, because he's got no transport. So I continue to use my car. I don't know anybody else. I think Sue sometimes uses
it. Susan does, and sometimes Kim and sometimes Nadia.
Oh, that's good. I've set off a precedent then, because before that nobody would use the car. Well, that's good. But they don't get petrol or any travelling for it, and that's wrong. So yeah, that's one thing that needs to happen next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything else that's been good or bad this year?
I've kept up with my DVD covers. I made DVD covers.
Yeah. You like that, don't you?
Yeah.
It gives Gary a focus in his flats, things to do.
Yeah.
Anything else, Gary?
Do me cleaning while I'm doing from video DVD.
Yeah, whatever. What things have been difficult this year for you, Gary? What things have been so difficult that it's kind of made you feel unhappy? What things have occurred?
About my mum and the way things are.
And what about, because I'm going to take you down this road because it's important to me, because you always had structure and routine, didn't you?
Yeah.
And again, as I mentioned earlier, you've got Keith now, who hopefully will stay with you a lot longer, and you'll get that consistency back. You lost a lot of that over the past number of years, didn't you?
Do
you want to mention how that made you feel? And people leaving and moving on, which is also a sadness for you.
Not
me, obviously, because he wasn't sad about that. But
I was sad about that.
Didn't even mention once.
I did mention you.
But it's fine, guys.
I did mention you. I saw Barry today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Old Bazzer. How's he doing?
He's lost a bit of weight.
Yeah, in Mid-Wellesey, we met him a couple of times, didn't we?
Yeah.
He's on remote control.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of press a few buttons and does that. But Barry was good, wasn't he? I like Barry.
Yeah.
He actually asked after Gary, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
He asked how you were doing.
Yeah.
Even he'd noticed how the routine had kind of gone by the by when he was there. Because he's got a son that's got autism. So he knows how it should be. So, anything else, Gary? Anything you'd like to change about the year that's gone on? You mentioned the car. What else would you like to see change?
Let's go to another Comic Con next year. Yep.
Well, you can plan for that, can't you, with Keith?
Yeah.
That's if Keith goes, that is.
Pardon?
That's if Keith goes with you, that is.
Yeah.
Jump was going to go as well, Gary.
What about feeling settled in your environment, Gary? What about feeling comfortable in your environment? Kind of getting back to where you were, where we had that integrated care. Everything was dealt with, because Ronnie was a part of Gary's care as well.
Yeah.
Would you like to see that going back to kind of how it was, where you knew people, you knew who was coming on shift, you knew you were going to get on with people, you were looked after health-wise. You had a structured routine that you actually led. And Gary was good at stuff like that. He used to work with people doing the chores and that, but it wasn't something that was imposed on him. It was something that Gary brought with him. Because he said when he came out of Northgate, there was quite a structured routine, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But they took a lot of that rigidity away from it, so it was more comfortable for Gary. But he used to keep up with that, and he cooked as well.
Yeah.
You know, which is why I mentioned Christmas Day earlier.
Yeah.
So, would you like it to kind of be more like that, or the way it is now?
I would like to be more like it used to be.
Yeah, because we mentioned it a number of times in our one-to-ones, didn't we?
Yeah.
And the only way that's going to happen is to get integrated care, where everybody's working together with Gary to get that. You know, things like setting up particular cooking days where Gary wants to cook, but not making it rigid where you have to do it. You know, because we used to do eggy bread.
We used to
do curry and stuff like
Pancakes.
that. Pancakes. And it was fun. You know, there was no rigidity, it was just fun, and Gary actually was able to do things like that. You know, so I'd like to see that come back for you, and I think with people like Keith, but again, you'd have to have management that supported that, and I know it's not going to happen unless CQC get rid of them, hopefully, and you can leave that on there as well. Because I'd be happier then, Gary, knowing that you were getting that. I mean, I was very happy once Keith came along to work with it, and again, it was regular, you were actually with Gary. You know, I was pleased again to see Keith come along, because that's going to settle you, isn't it? Yeah, so I'd like to think that that's going to change to a certain extent. Anything else, Gaz, you want to share?
It's been a difficult year because Billy died. Billy Tickle.
That's right, Billy died, yeah.
Yep.
And of course there was Eric.
Pardon?
Eric.
Eric's still alive.
No, but he disappeared, and every time he got close, he disappeared again. We went to Wigton. You probably heard the story of Gary about when Gary took a DVD. Was it a DVD or a video?
Free DVDs to get finalised on
He
commercials.
put the commercials out, and the poor Eric,
You've heard it
he thought he'd knackered his video. So of course Gary went in that day. I remember vividly, we started a little hatch, weren't we? When Gary told him, so flipping, I thought I'd knackered your video. Gary,
I thought it was smoke. Stop cutting the commercials out.
He said, I was sitting there for it, all I could see was a black screen. I thought, oh no, of course Gary was laughing. Well, we went to see him at Wigton, because he had a shop at Wigton, but he's now moved on. They must have got wind that Gary was coming to see him.
With Keith's bike.
But that's another area as well that I was very proactive on, and that's to build up friendships outside of Walsingham. You know, being allowed to mix with people, knock about with people, not just your own peer group. And that was kind of kibosh with Eric as well. It's almost like, oh, well, he can't be, what was it said, Gary, you can't be going in there and, was it downloading things? That's how the kind of, a bit like the Supergirl DVD. You know, it wasn't appropriate.
Yeah.
So that was that. And yet Gary mentions Eric a number of times, don't you? In passing. Because people have been good to Gary and kind to Gary, remembers them, as do we. You know, so you'd nurture that, wouldn't you, rather than try to exclude it. Anything else, Gary?
I mentioned Eric on Saturday. Well, Alex was there. Alex can't do clean. I'll do clean when Eric is doing Alex coming in early hours in the morning do for me. Susan and Alex said, who's Eric? They didn't know. They're not with it, are they?
They should have known. But you would pick up on things like that. If you work close with Gary, you'd pick up on things like that, because Gary, it's important to you, isn't it, Gary? You know, you don't have to always like things that other people like, but you can at least, you know, show a bit of interest, and that's crucial, I think. Because Gary became very instant, very isolated for quite a long time. So this relationship now between you and Keith, you know, working together, that's good. It can only be good. Are you still quite sad about Tony leaving? Because he was a massive loss for you as well, wasn't he?
I am sad about Tony leaving.
And he left quite quickly as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
I know he'd reached rock bottom, you know, he'd had enough of the way things were. He kind of got out quicker than I expected, actually. But I knew that would have a massive effect on you. And let's hope that it slows down a bit now, and you know you keep. I mean, Stephen will probably jump ship as well, won't he? You know the way things are going. But the year has been a mixture of good and bad, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Gary. Right. Thank you, Gary. Trey, how's your year gone? Any highs and lows? Has it been all low?
No, I think we've had some highs. I mean, I managed to achieve my goal of lifting my own body weight.
Oh, you deadlifting yet?
Earlier on this year in a deadlift, which I thought was great. My fitness has improved this year. There's been some ups and downs, but basically it has improved my boxing skills and stuff, and that's a high for me. Still really enjoy the workouts. The highs when it comes to the charity Ravenglass, I remember that was a good day. I really enjoyed that day. The birthdays, I mean my birthday was awesome. And your birthday and the Christmas meal we had just last week, I really enjoyed that. Things like that are highs for me. The day we went to Keswick, I went to Keswick with Mark and Nigel. They wanted a day out and I went along to support them. That was a good day, wasn't it, Nigel?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I enjoyed that. We had a laugh on that day, poor Mark, trying to feed the birds down by the lake.
They swamp you.
Oh, well, yeah, the thing is, I said, here, give us the food, for goodness sake, you're going to get eaten. And then Nigel trying to get himself eaten because he'd run out of food. Trying to peck at him. But it was a good day, wasn't it, Nigel? We had a good laugh. Laws, oh, yeah, we've had a few of those. Personally, too many to mention, so I won't bother. When it comes through the charity work, a lot of stresses with the benefit system, really detrimental for Nigel and for ourselves, you know, me and you, Harry, very draining.
It was.
And still ongoing. So that's difficult knowing you're going into the next year and it's still going to be ongoing. I think I still have nightmares about that, to be honest.
We had a positive with Hayley though. Hayley Joy.
Hayley was good.
She was.
Occupational therapist.
Yeah, she was good. I think we've had a few things that Nigel's had to deal with health of late. And there's been a couple of people that have been quite good, and that was the doctor we've seen this week. I thought
Monday,
he was really good.
Yeah. And
Hayley. And unfortunately everybody else has been a bit not so good. You're fighting to get what you need. So that's been difficult, really.
Yeah, it hasn't been integrated care, has it?
No, it hasn't.
Pretty much been kind of fighting a lonely battle.
Yes, definitely. And I think it just stops everything all the time, and I find that quite frustrating for me personally, because I want to move things forward, you know, for Nigel and get things sorted better for him, and you're just hitting brick walls all the time. It's so difficult. So yeah, they have been lows, and that's about it really.
Thank you, Trey. That's down to me now, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you get to 65 and you retire, you kind of feel quite vulnerable. It's a vulnerability that creeps up on you quite quickly, and you don't actually see it coming. You know, people assume that when you get to 65, oh, life's going to be all wonderful, you know, you do this, you can go there now, you're not working or whatever. But work has always been an enjoyment for me in many ways. It's given me focus, I've got routine, and I know that my working life ended on a fairly bad note in relation to Walsingham. I chose to remove myself from it because of the politics that were going on and the way that the management team weren't actually dealing with people such as Gary and Aidan, etc., etc. So that was difficult. I dig quite deep there, but I got through it. You know, and I never lost my belief in how social care should be administered. I don't doubt there's people trying to stick knives in the back now. You know, who do you think he is? Do you think he's God? He can walk on water, all the rest of it. No, it's because I care. You know, that's always stayed with me. I had a difficult childhood, And you know, the caring side of me has become more of a priority. You know, I'd rather give to people than take from people. And yet, as Trey mentioned before there, I feel this year I have dealt with all kinds of idiots who actually have agendas, who don't really care, that purport to care, and then we have to fight battles to try to override that for the betterment of people that actually they should also be doing. So that's been really difficult for me, and I've tried to stem the anger. That day when Jonathan Anderson came here and completely dismissed everybody, when Mark was there, that was the difficult thing for me, because Mark was actually there when he did it. You know, what should have happened was he should have communicated with Trey, should have made sure Mark was calm and relaxed to get him to where he was going to, and then phone call, some kind of contact afterwards to say, well, Mark's settled now, and you know, thanks for whatever. Just something, some kind of communication. So that's been difficult for me, because that's what we would have done.
Yes, I must be honest, the situation with Mark and Aidan, because I work closely with them both, has been kind of frustrating and a bit of a low. It's been very difficult, because I remember what happened in summer with Aidan, and it was difficult because Aidan was distressed and was trying to contact in some way, and I was the contact, and that was not easy, and that's still ongoing for Aidan. Aidan regularly contacts us, and what do you do, because it's going downhill for him and there's no way we can help.
Yeah, I mean, his care was never supported. I mean, I pretty much ran his care system on my own for quite a long time with no backup from anybody, really. And I like to think that my job that I set out to do was done, and Aidan got to a better place. He was more open with people.
Yes,
you know, he could have laughs and, you know, meet people, say hi to people. People said hi to him in Cockmouth, where before he was quite isolated. He was trying to come out of his flat, things like that. So I'd done my work there, but I wanted other people to pick up on that, you know, and build on that. And it never came in any particular way, shape or form. And then I'm just suddenly removed from Aidan's care support. And I was told that anybody can work with Aidan. And this is a man who has paranoid schizophrenia and Asperger's. No, not everybody can work with people with those conditions. And then anybody was banged in, you know, with no training. Aidan was perfectly aware of that, and that was difficult for me.
Yeah.
But we kept in touch, and Aidan still keeps in touch. You know, I mean, I got a phone call again yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
I'm sure he's stalking me, because people remember people who went the extra yard. I always did. I've often mentioned about Tom Armstrong, who was my area supervisor, a lovely man, because he cared, you know, and it doesn't cost anything to care. So I've had a lot of lows this year. I'm desperately trying to think of a high, and I can't think of one. No, I haven't really got a high.
I actually think, despite the fact the way you ended up retiring, I think retiring is a high for you, because I'd noticed how the effects of what was going on in Walsing and how it affected you. So I think retiring is a high for you. It will be a positive thing for you. You maybe don't see it just yet, but I see it.
Oh, well, tell me first that. It isn't retirement per se, the concept of retirement that disturbed me. It was the run-up to it that disturbed me, because I have worked all my life. I had paper rounds, not actually round paper or you know, what anybody says to me. I had a paper bike, and it wasn't actually made of paper, it was a proper bike. That's another one that Nigel always jumps on, don't you? I used to deliver newspapers. So I've worked from the age of 10 right the way through to 65.
Yeah.
So for it to finish the way it did, retirement didn't have the same feeling that you expressed there. For me, it was almost as if I'd been pushed off the end. I didn't feel badly done by, because I chose to remove myself from those idiots. I remember the day vividly in Grey Street when it was handled so badly, and I was told I was being taken out of Aidan's care. Mum had put a complaint in and wasn't told what the complaint was because, of course, it's confidentiality. And to this day still, I know nothing about a complaint, but I know why it was done. And when I sent the letter into Adult Social Care and CQC, I said exactly that the complaint and the removal were questionable. And I knew what was going on because she wanted me out of the equation, yeah, so she could bang anybody in. And the Nathan wouldn't get the care that he was supposed to be getting,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be maintained. And that will be on her conscience, if she's got a conscience, that is. So that was why retirement wasn't something that I embraced
Yeah.
the way I should have done. But I don't feel hard done by. You know, that's how it was. But the high for me is, I've just thought of one now, is that I've still maintained the belief in social care and how it should be administered. Because I'm sitting around the table now. I mean, Keith has been massive in relation to articulating how social care should be administered. His beliefs on that have been brutally honest. And I think if Walsingham could get more people like Keith involved, yeah, things might change. If they don't get people like Keith in and they get other people in, no names mentioned,
Yeah.
who don't care, then it's going to become a complete and utter debacle. So for me, it's good for me that you know, I can sit in a podcast and have people such as Keith talking so openly about what he believes in that reflect my beliefs. So that's a high for me.
Yeah.
And I hope that people listen to this can also get on board with that and think, well, yeah, that's how it should be done. We shouldn't be doing it that way. And let's challenge that. You know, if more people challenged poor care, things might just change. And that's where I think it's better to be a tiger for one day than a sheep for 1,000 years. So on that note, there was one high eventually.
Yeah, there was.
Yep.
I'm going to ask everybody before we round off what their aspirations are, what they'd like to see in the coming year, 2019. What you'd like to see happen next year, what your aspirations are, what your vision is of next year. What would you like to see happen?
Oh, next year. Goodness, there's too many things really.
Well, mention some, Trey, be useful.
Personally, there's too many things I would like to see happen, so I'm not even going to mention that. For the charity, I would like to see us more established and to be able to offer our services to more people.
Gary, what are your hopes and dreams for next year? What are your aspirations? What would you like to see happen or change for next year? You mentioned one about the car, didn't you?
Pardon?
You said you'd like
About the car.
Yeah. So that's one. Anything else? I know you mentioned about Comic-Con again, but you'll have to plan for that one, won't you? Anything you'd like to see change next year that'll make you happy?
At my PCP.
Is it still 2 years beyond? That
I told Daniel I'd like to offer after Christmas because I think 2 Christmas is too short notice. Just to give it time.
Yeah, it's over 2 years, isn't it, since you last had a PCP?
Yep. I'll let you have it after Christmas.
It's up to you, it's your PCP.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'll let you and Tracy to come along to it.
Oh, thank you, Gary, that's very nice.
Yep. And keep come along to it. I'm Stephen.
Oh, God! And I thought it was just me and you.
His jumper
We're
as
not
well.
the favourites.
Oh, yeah.
His jumper.
Gary, I'd be more than happy to come up.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully Jonathan Anderson will be at the PCP as well.
Why?
And I shall enjoy duelling with him. If you hear that, idiot.
That would be so funny.
It will be funny.
He won't come if he knows I'm going.
Oh.
Remember when I tore a strip off him in the museum?
I do, yeah.
And he deserved it.
Yeah.
And he's got to get it again. Sorry, Gary. Well, I suppose he's got to do something, hasn't he, really? Yeah. So...
It was funny, wasn't it?
Is that everything, Gary? Yeah, we finished?
Yeah,
Thank you very much, and thanks for the invite as well. Lucy, what are you looking forward to next year?
I just see it happen, yeah.
You just want to be happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a better year because you've had some difficult ones of late, haven't you? Yeah, so Lucy's aspiration is to be happy next year, and that's a good one, that, isn't it? Yeah. Keith, you had a good year, didn't you? Because you mentioned earlier.
Had a good year, yeah.
So any hopes and dreams for next year?
I'm looking forward to getting married for that, obviously. That's.
Well, you mentioned that last time, didn't you?
Forward to.
Yeah. Have you set a date though?
Yeah, we've got a date. It's just that well, we don't know when we're moving in together, type of thing. That's the.
Don't do
that's
it,
the thing.
Keith.
That's about you hats, won't
Keep your space.
That's about you hat. Keith.
You have to get rid of your bike.
Get a new bike?
At the moment, he's seen a lot of his mum, and he needs to because I mean she's getting older and she's had falls, and it's nice that he's staying there quite a lot. You know, probably more than half the week is at his mum's, and I'm even encouraging that because I mean it's nice. It's nice that his mum's got a son that really cares for her, and she has had a few falls, so it's a must really that he's there a lot more. So I mean I'm willing to sort of like sacrifice that I don't see him so often, knowing that his mum's looked after.
Yeah.
So
my time will come later on.
So the date, if you've set a date, how is that going to work then? If that's the situation with his mum and
Well, that's it's just one of those things. I mean, I'd like him to move in with me eventually, but I mean that will happen when the time's right. I've just got to sort of like be patient, I suppose, and realise that his mum's needs him more than I do, if you know what I mean.
we know why he's looking after his mum, don't we? Yeah. I've got it sussed.
No, I mean she has got the start of dementia and things like that, so I mean, and obviously over time that's just going to get worse.
So was it worthwhile setting a date then?
I mean the amount of... Sorry?
Was it worthwhile setting a date then? Because surely if his mum's got dementia, she's hardly going to buy a new hat and walk down the flipping thing, is she?
No.
So how's that going to work? Purely an objective question, Keith. Because you said you'd set a date, but then if he's dealing with his mum with dementia, that's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Well, hopefully it's... I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how that's progressing. Whether it's a very slow curve or whether it's going to speed up as time goes on, but I mean... Will a doctor even know? Do you know what I mean? It's one
So
of those
would
things.
it not be fair to say then that and I'm not trying
Very
to
short.
make assumptions or inferences, but if she's on the pathway of dementia, which she quite clearly is, because you mentioned there before, then would it not be nice to get that marriage carried out while she's still got some semblance of cognition?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And he hasn't told us the date. Have you noticed?
Yeah, we asked like 5 minutes ago.
And he went, but anyway,
So you can buy a new hat.
doesn't want to say, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But would it not make sense, look, at least then, she would have something to take into that abyss, seeing her son happy and settled. That'd be worth thinking about, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Have you discussed that with him, or is not something...
Well, he sort of like set the date and things. Pat did. And
Is she
I
more
just went
valid
along with it, thinking, well, when it's comfortable for him.
Is she mobile enough to get,
She is. She's still coming into town. Not every day. It used to be every day. She used to come into town. Now it's sort of like maybe once, twice a week.
So she could get a new dress and things, and at least be taken there.
Yeah.
Just go for it, Keith. Life's too short. I'll be really pleased for you, Keith, because I think you're probably one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my lifetime, and I always remember the people that have made me very inspired, and you know, this is good. This is how I want to feel, because that person makes me feel comfortable. It's a genuine comfort, you know. So if you get married, when you get married on the 20th of the 6th, I think it'll be massive for you. And I think that you know, you'll probably be more happier, you'll be more settled. You know, we did talk about your previous partner and how things turned the way they did. So I think it'll be massive for Keith, won't it?
It will be.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer bloke.
And I'll look out for the photographs on Facebook.
Thank you, Keith. Nigel, what are your hopes and dreams for next year? Any aspirations for next year? What about Jacqueline's situation? What would you like to see happen there?
Improve a bit better now, and be more, have more communication and stuff.
More involved?
Yes, more involved and communication.
Integrated care?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'd like to see that.
And what about seeing the back of DWP?
Yeah, definitely.
The Department for Work and Pensions, we love them.
Get that sorted out as well.
Yeah.
It'd help.
Then we can get settled then, can't we, once that's how the
with the help is for me, for the help to get it sorted, yeah. And we see the back of it.
Anything else? Any hopes for next year? Any?
No, I can't think of anything.
No? Thank you, Nigel. Me?
Yes.
My hopes for next year are to still be breathing, which is useful. Maintain my health, because I've had some issues with my health, but I'm kind of getting back on track now. I think I'd like to see the charity more established, because I've put so much effort in over the years to try to show how social care should be administered for people, give people more control, give them a choice in how that social care is administered. I like to think I've you know, maybe changed a few people's perceptions of social care and how it should be administered. So I'd like that to continue, but as Trace said it herself when she was asked, I'd like to see it more established so we can bring more people in. You know, because I think a lot more people would benefit from what we provide, and I think it would also let them see that they're not just commodities and they're not just people who are in care. They're still people. So yeah, I'd like to see that happen more next year, and I'm sure it will. I've got the belief it will. Yeah, and just keep breathing. Right, folks, thanks very much for that. We're going to round off now. I think we've got quite a lot on there. Excuse me. The year's been one of mixed emotions, but it's. I always think it's nice to leave 1 year behind with some good things that have happened, and there's many good things have happened, I believe. And thanks everybody for your honesty. If anybody wants to comment on that, you're more than welcome to go on the blog or the Facebook page and comment. But yeah, I'd like to wish everybody all the best from Ss2to.